like they had gold. And that began to burn in my brain. And probably one of the things that got me the most was I was sitting, I loved kids, and my wife and I, we've built orphanages all around the world, and have been a part of helping with that. My wife is adopted, and so we've got a real passion for helping little kids out. So I'm monkeying around with this little guy, I'm poking, we're laughing and giggling. His mom, I'm asking through an interpreter, okay, how old is he? What's life like? And then I asked the stupidest question I could have asked. I asked, what's his name? She got this look on her face like, what are you talking about? And through the interpreter, she relayed to me that he doesn't have a name. We just call him Boy or Blessing. And I asked the follow-up question, why? Because see, the reality that people in sub-Saharan Africa live in every day is 1 in 5 children will die before they reach age 5. And so at that point, God really began to do a work in my life. And so I'm standing there watching the water go down the drain, and that's when it hit me. And water is life here. And I came back to the United States, told some friends, began looking at some things to do. And a couple of months later, we drilled our first well. And now Water's Life is in over 47 countries around the world, providing water, sanitation, and hygiene, and helping to end the world water crisis. I'm going to give you kind of an abbreviated version because I'm going to get to really some specifics about what we can do together to partner. But I wanted to show you a few things first. Now, everybody's involved in social media these days, right? You got Facebook. I mean, my mom passed away a little over a year ago, but she was posting pictures of what she ate in the morning, the neighbor's cat, all these good stupid things on Facebook. I see some giggles. I think some of you guys have been doing maybe some of that as well. But we use, you can look at for news, you can look for stories, you can look at pictures of your friends and family, all that kind of stuff. But one of the things that we found several years ago was there was a hashtag on Twitter. It's called First World Problems. Anybody know what first world problems are? What are they? Give me one.
The heated seats don't work.
My heated seats aren't heated. My phone charger's too short. I gotta stand by the wall to text, or I can't text from my bed or whatever. And so we have these first world problems that people in other countries would go, that's your biggest issue you got to deal with. And so we created a little campaign to shake up Twitter a little bit. And so, let's see if it's going to play. There's no volume. Well, you're not going to get to see it. You're not going to get to hear the video. It's okay. So, anyway, long story short, what we did was we hijacked this First World Problems hashtag and began to use that story to begin to tell, getting people involved in helping to bring water solutions to the world. Because of the results of that, we've been able to give literally millions of liters of water in Haiti, because that's where the campaign was done. It was right after the earthquake. Now, you're not going to be able to hear him, but what? I don't know why it's not. It should be, but it's okay. Huh? Yeah, it could be a user issue there for sure. But I want to introduce you to a little guy named Kaitoli. Now, Kaitoli is a little Maasai boy. Maasai warriors, pretty amazing folks. He lives right on the border of Tanzania and Kenya. And what we wanted to do was we wanted to take kind of what I had experienced with the children and the issues that kids face and do it in a way that was positive and could bring some awareness to what's going on in the world. Because 1 in 5 kids dying in sub-Saharan Africa is not a great statistic. And so we took a 4-year-old on a bucket list trip. Do you guys remember the old movie, The Bucket List, with Morgan Freeman and Jack Nicholson? Yeah. They put this list of things together that they were going to do before they kicked the bucket. And so they went around, they did all this stuff. So we took this little guy on a bucket list trip, and You can see the subtitle. You can see the subtitle. What? Try this again. How about that? I think it'll work now. You got it. This may or may not work. Start off now. Everybody asks, how's Kai Totally doing? Well, he's doing really, really well. He's, in fact, this is a couple of years after that video was done. I think I'm now the new dating coach because that little gal keeps coming back, all dressed up and everything. But as a result of Kai Totally's story, we've been able to share that on social media and be able to encourage people to donate and to give. And because of that, we've been able to drill a really deep well there that not only supplies water for his village, but for 3 other villages. We've cut pipes in the ground all the way to those other villages, to one of the schools that all those kids in that area go to. Kai Totally's story is amazing, but it wouldn't have made a difference if people didn't get involved and share it. And so one of the things that you're going to hear Phil talk about in a little bit is the power of social media as well with this type of event to help make a difference in the world. So we've got all kinds of different technologies. We use straw filters that you see on the table there. We've got some of those there for you to look at. Those will provide about 500 liters of water, eliminating about 1,000 of these guys out of the landfill, and saves money, but most importantly, saves lives, because it deals with viruses and bacteria that are in the water. And so it buys us time. We look at this as a Band-Aid that buys us time to be able to come up with a sustainable solution. But I do want to share with you something very, very exciting. Our partners at Alexia have been in the process of developing our basically what's called an atmospheric water generator. We'll go into more details here in a minute. It's actually deposition water, but for us simple folks, just think of it as pulling water out of the air. Okay? So right now there are millions of gallons of water in the air for each person on the planet every day. Now think about what happens when you drink water. You sweat, pee it out, evaporates, goes right back up into the atmosphere. It's a closed loop system that we are very excited about. The exciting thing for me is this is one of our demo units of our atmospheric water generator or water harvester, and we left it blank for a reason. You notice there's some blank panels up there. Can you imagine if your church or if your business with some corporate social responsibility wanted to get some social credit? Here's a great way to do it by providing hundreds of liters of water for children around the world. I want to show you one goofy guy making some snow here. This is actually showing you the insides and how it works. Because of the temperature that this unit runs at, it runs at minus 30 to minus 90 degrees. It's actually creating a glacier inside the unit. And so this unit, as you see, we just plugged it in a few minutes ago, is already creating water. This is smaller capacity because you have to move it around. But you can see how quickly ice forms. It's just sucking in water vapor and sucks that water vapor in, instantly freezes it, and then it's post-treated and comes out as sustainable water. And Tyson and I have been working together now for about a decade's worth. And back in December of 19, Tyson made a comment, and I'm going to let him take over for now.
It's a fun one. Trying to break the ice, but the story about the little boy always makes me emotional every time I watch it. So I'm a little teary-eyed and a little jaw-jerky, so I'm sorry. But now, as Ken said, I've been following him for nearly 10 years. I was introduced by this man, John Ford, who's one of those queen bee pollinators, a person that knows everybody, everything that everybody does, and it brings two people together when they need to meet. I had a passion. I'd been to Uganda in 2008, just a year after he went to Kenya. I was 4 months from having my first kid. I had my second kid 21 months after that, and I turned into a dad and a businessman, and spent about 10 years being a dad and doing all that. And it was in 2019, I was looking at my pictures from Uganda, and I saw this street kid that I fell in love with. A street kid means he doesn't have any parents, nobody's taking care of him. He was about 9 years old, wandering the streets looking for food and water. And on like the third day, I asked him why he didn't change his shirt. He looked at me and said, "Sir, I don't have no shirt." I looked down at his feet. He hadn't worn shoes since I met him. And I started sweating all right around because I saw people with no shoes. And I said, "You got any shoes?" He said, "No, sir." And I said, "Take me where I can get you some shoes." So you're going to see this guy in the picture here in a minute. A guy I stayed in contact with in 2008. He actually manages my farm in Uganda. Bought a small farm there. I sent him to horticulture school, agriculture school. Yeah, that's Alex. I call him Street Preacher. He was out. Well, I was buying this kid some shoes. Every person that walked by, he would start preaching to him. He had a Bible in his thumb, and it was folded so hard, like from sitting there holding it. Anybody that came by, he would ask him if they knew the Lord and want to teach to him and preach to him before he sold them anything. That was opposite of the way I did it in our business, right up here on 24th and Main, where I started my business, whichever way it is. In Edmond as well, but here in Norman, I was here from 03 to 06, and after I sold the car, I would pull out a Bible and put it on the table and say, I like to give a Bible away to every person I sell, and here's where I like to start. It's in Proverbs 1 through 31, because there's a proverb for every day, and every month, they'll have a different meaning to you. I promise you, I take notes, and I don't even know why I wrote those notes the month before. When I read Proverbs 2, that's always where I go to whenever I find myself struggling with good things and bad things, and it's a good place to start the Bible for some good, simple statement quotes. So I would actually take people to Mardell's and get the Bibles filled out with their name on it if they wanted to get real personal. But this guy was out there teaching people about Jesus without selling them anything. It's his livelihood. He's out there on the street selling shoes at night. So fast forward, I go buy this kid some shoes. I find an OU shirt laying in the ghettos up there where they're selling shirts for 25 cents a piece. And I don't have that picture on here, but it's all those things are what pushed me in 2019 to get back on what God had put on my heart and on my mind and things that I can't forget. Once you see these things, you can't unforget them. Like, it's hard. So Ken has always shown me the coolest technology. Things like water bases, you can turn on the ground and sit there and cool your humidity in a little fan and make water underground on a little base and a little pump. You can sit there and make 5 gallons a day. And he showed me rain catcher nets they put on the side of mountains where the fog rolls in but there's no rain. He was always showing me this technology that everybody was bringing from all over the world because they know he could deploy it in places that it needs to be used where they don't have other ways to get water. So I've always been interested in what he's doing. I've always stayed behind him, and I've always been honored to have him anywhere around me. I've been honored to eat breakfast with him, lunch. I've always valued my time with him because I know he's out there saving kids' lives. As a Gentile, I'm called to help women, orphans, and children, and that's what I feel when I call me up to help orphans and women. And so, children are my first thing over there. When you see millions of kids walking around with no parents and nobody taking care of them, it's really hard. When you look here and you see all these grown adults walking around homeless, it's a lot different when you see 6-year-olds and 8-year-olds and 10-year-olds doing it. So I got back onto it when my kids got to the picture of this kid that I fell in love with when he was probably 9 or 10 years old. And Ken showed me this box right here in 2019, not this specific one, but this is what was happening. And we thought that it was about to be invented and ready to go. So I was leaving to go to Uganda the day after Christmas for 3 weeks, and he'd been showing me this technology. I checked in with him, hey, do I need GPS tracking devices on me? Is anything bad going to happen to me over that phone by myself, I'm backpacking it? What about the drinking water? What do I need to do? Here's some straws, you can give it this. I always put a tracker in my GPS tracker in my bag. I don't worry about me so much, but I was all freaking out. I was going by myself for the first time in 2019 and spent 3 weeks there. And meanwhile, in conversation, just before I left, it says one day in December, I asked Ken, can I donate one of those water machines to Uganda to be the first one to go to Uganda? You can see my message here. What does it say? First one.
Those are the 2 messages.
Okay. I said right here, this is December 19th, and I donate a water machine to Ken Paula at the same time you do. We're just special to announce that you've arrived with the best water machine to date. I'm excited. That's how I contain my excitement.
Me too!
So I committed December 19th to taking one of these to Uganda. And while I was there, I met with the Minister of Public Service who just got done walking 120 kilometers to remember the war that they fought with Museveni, the president, and all the generals walked 120 kilometers over 6 days. And on the 7th day, when they got back on Saturday, Museveni's right-hand man, the Minister of Public Service over all 45 million Ugandans employment, met with me at my office and actually took me out to where he graduated high school, not in Sangala, Uganda, and I made a commitment to take my first water machine back to where he graduated high school as my first approach to make a movement in Uganda towards helping these people get water. I started growing a beard when I committed that and said I wasn't cutting this beard off until it still came back. And in February, it was supposed to March of 2020 it was supposed to happen. But a lot of other things happened in February, March of 2020, and we all got derailed. School shut down, we all went home, we all had long summers, we all had to find different interests. So that kept a lot of us grounded where we couldn't, as humanitarians, as missionaries, as philanthropists, as people wanting to do good for people, it kept a lot of us locked down and not able to go do the things we want to do. So we were able to unite with a lot of other people internally in the United States. And I went down to Texas for a whole different purpose. And there's a girl, Jenn, in the back, who I met with, and she advised me that the Indian nations had issues that needed resolved. So these things, well, let me get back on track on that. So I made a commitment to not cut my beard off until one of these machines was made. And I stuck with that commitment from October 2019 until November of 2022. Through long angst and weight, growing this beard that got terminal at 7-8 inches. And just stayed there. It didn't get real long.
ZZ Top was recruiting you to be back up.
So through all that, I had this commitment, and And I finally got tired of waiting myself and said, I'm taking some water to Africa. Ken, I know it's not what we want to do today, but I know it's still happening. I'm putting a well on my property. I bought a farm in March of 2020, March 6th, 2020. And I decided to put a well in. And I finished that at Thanksgiving. A week before Thanksgiving, they called me and told me they hit water 130 feet deep, hand digging the well. I think it's so ridiculous. The well. They dug 130 feet into the ground, a 6-foot circle, and hit water a week before Thanksgiving. So I booked my flight, I flew right over there, and I got my beard cut off. I only like to go for a couple, 3 or 4 months in the winter, not like this guy every day, all day. I did enjoy it, people liked it, but it was my commitment beard, and I didn't get to fulfill it with this machine, but I'm standing here before you today, and everybody knows why I grew that beard and knows me close, and I'm happy and excited I'm gonna get to take this machine back to Uganda, and that's how I ended up with this man, and how I ended up behind this mission, and we're gonna raise money, and you want to talk about what we're gonna do with these things? So, I'm gonna tell you all a little bit about what I've been doing, partnering with Jordan Kramer and Jenn, the girl just walked in, some things that we've been working on. For the last 2 years, we've been going to the Reservation Economic Summit that's been held in Las Vegas and San Diego Indian Gaming Association. That's where all the Indian nations come together to find the best resources, green energy and water, green energy for electricity, sanitation, all the problems that they're dealing with where they've been left out on the reservations 10, 20, 30 miles from civilization. Water pipelines won't run out of time when we got running water, electric grids won't wait for them when we figure out how to make electricity. And sanitation systems weren't set up for them, we just totally use lagoons. So we found a lot of need in America, and in traveling and talking to a lot of nations where the biggest need for water is, we found the Navajo Nation 2 years ago had 30,000 people living without running water in America. 30,000. Most of y'all probably come from towns that don't have 30,000 people living, where only 5,000, and it takes 6 of those towns to fill up people living in the Navajo Nation in Nevada, California, Mexico, Arizona, and there's all types of tribes living there. There's 22 tribes in Arizona. The Navajos aren't the only one, they're just one of the biggest tribes in the nation. And they're living without running water. There's a water lane, you can look it up. She's driving looks like an old Love gas tanker truck, driving around, dropping water off of people's houses. Here in America, just so they can have water. So getting closed down and getting stuck in America, not able to go out and do our humanitarian or mission work or philanthropy work, just being stuck here, I decided to take my focus to the Indian nations because this was our nation first. A lot of us have Indian, I've got 2 generations that live in Chickasaw and Cherokees bred into me, so I've always felt compassion for the Indian nations, but I've never respected how they were treated, and I understand a lot more of the story about the Indian nations than most of y'all wouldn't know, unless you sit down and talk to me about what I know. And talking with lots of chiefs and lots of councils and meeting with them, I figured out a lot of different issues that were happening. So we've decided to deploy this technology to the Indian nations first and let them be the first beneficiaries of having water before we go outside to the other nations. And we want to see these betas and these demos and these guinea pigs, if you'll call them that, for a year, work in different climates, different altitudes, different barometric pressures, different temperatures. And we, based on the testing that we've done at the facility, hot box testing or environmental testing, what you call it, where you put it inside of a condition to make the humidity at this, the heat at this, and the cold air at this, whatever you need to do. They've been doing environmental testing, and we're ready to take these things to the Mojave Desert because we believe that it's because it doesn't work, it doesn't run on the humidity that comes out the Gulf Stream, out the Gulf, like we get, that causes the tornadoes and the rain that comes up out of the Gulf. It doesn't rely on jet stream, bringing humidity in off the ocean. It doesn't rely on Lake Erie making its own humidity effects coming off of the lake effect, snow, whatever. This is run off of the vapor, the water vapor that's in the air that we breathe. It's inside the ozone. It's trapped inside of it. It's a closed loop cycle. And if we all die, no water releases out of us and goes into the ground. It goes into the air when we evaporate. When the wood was cut to make inside these chairs and steel, the water is inside of everything. When it goes outside, the leaves fall off the tree, they release the water and evaporates into the air. So we figured out how to capture those water vapors in the air through deposition. That scientific term is the exact same thing that's happening on your cups on the outside of your water, because the ambient air temperature around the surface of that cup that's cold, 10 to 20 degrees, can make what you call humidity or sweat develop in your cups. The scientific term for that is called deposition. Nobody's ever tried to figure out how to get more water in a cup. They always try to figure out how to get it off of it. Nobody's ever tried to figure out how to get permafrost. Nobody's ever tried to get permafrost inside your freezer box. They're always trying to get it out of there. Nobody's ever tried to figure out how to get permafrost to grow on a jet wing of an airplane. They're always trying to figure out how to desalt it and get it off of it. There's no studies on how to make glacier ice water inside of a machine or inside of a freezer. You can go look, there's no studies. We have 132 patents, 132 countries that still patent it, nobody else has ever done it. It's the first time the world's ever seen this technology. Everybody else does atmospheric water generation by vaporation, by heating it up, vaporizing it, condensing it, and turning it back into humidity. It's a very expensive process. Bill Gates has one of these atmospheric water generators. Heat back, it takes 70 solar panels, or it takes one. It has a 1,200 square foot footprint to do this. Ours takes 12. Its costs over $200,000. Ours is going to cost $25,000. So we've got some disruptive technology here. I'm excited that all of y'all came to hear about it. See, I brought my employees, all of them that have been 5+ years over here. A lot of people from my kids' school, a lot of people that have been behind me and supported and know what I've been about. This is my first chance to show something what we're doing, why we're doing it, and actually get to present it again, so I hope I haven't taken up too much time. But what we are doing, we have 3 Indian nations located and isolated right now that we're going to take these things to. So the first money to raise will be going to the Yamashoshone tribe out of Austin, Nevada. They're out there. They have 35 tribes within 3 days of us showing them this technology and saying we're bringing it. Already have 35 tribes ready to have a reservation economic summit with us as soon as this machine gets there, so they can get on the list and put their orders in to buy these things. We've also got a tribe, descendants of the Sioux of Minnesota, the Sisseton Wapates. We've been talking with them for a couple of years, and their slogan is "Water is life." So when they saw this hat, they're like, "Oh, Coda, brother, Coda's brother." Every time, Coda, you are our brother. And the Indian nations all believe that water is life. It's not just that tribe. That slogan runs across all Indian nations. If you go anywhere, that's the same thing they all believe. And at the end of the day, take all this food away, everybody in here is dying in 7 days. But water will keep us alive for 21 days. And so, water is life, and dirty water is death. That's what kids has come to experience and come to figure out. I don't like hearing kids are dying with water. When we know how to clean it, we know how to make it. And this machine right here will be able to be propped up out in the middle of nowhere. It's an off-grid solution. It takes one solar panel. It needs to be sitting outside to make water. So we're going to take these to Indian nations first. Our first goal is to build 50 of these for the United States nations, and the first over between now and the end of this year, 50 of these built. By this time next year, once we've had 6 months to 12 months of beta and demo testing of these units in America, we'll feel more comfortable about taking them overseas to where if there is a problem, we need to get it back, or we need to send a tech over to work on it, that we've got the kinks and things figured out. Because we have every altitude, every barometric pressure, every temperature, everything that we need here in America to test these from the Mojave Desert to the top of the Colorado Rockies, about 6,000 feet, where civilizations, where cities are built 6,000 feet and under. So we feel like with 6 months to a year, we can test these through all the Indian nations, show them what's available, let them stop having track houses without, when the wells quit working, they don't have water, let them quit build places where there is no water and learn how they're going to pipe it in. Nothing has to be unearthed, nothing has to be drilled, no trucks have to be made to deliver water. I was at a trade show the last 2 weeks in San Diego and Vegas with these Indian nations, and I said, look, put 10 bottles of water, we're going to make 10 5-gallon bottles of water every single day with one of these machines. Cool. That's at $7 a bottle, that's $70 a day of water. This thing pays itself for 1 year. It's got a 10-year life expectancy. So return on investment is back. And even at office, if we let the American nations, American states get access to these things, or other office space, this thing is sitting there making water, solar panels. So it's green. It's going to change the way people see water and how they learn that we can get it. And we're excited that all of you over here to see this for the first time ever. Knowing about this since 2019. Obviously, that's why I grew that beard. For all you don't know me, I grew a beard. Wasn't a thing, but that's what I have to say about it.
Thanks, Tyson. You can tell we're excited about the possibilities of what can happen. When I was a kid, I studied Winston Churchill in school. I was probably about 3rd or 4th grade. He made an impression on me. He made a statement. He said, "You make a living by what you get, but you make a life by what you give." And that has stuck with me all of my life. I feel like that we have a responsibility. We represent 5% of the world's population, and yet we consume about half of the world's goods and services. I think according to the Bible, I think it's our responsibility. If we see our brother in need, like it says, pure and undefiled religion is this, and you care for the widow and the poor. And it's our responsibility. I am excited about what the possibilities are as we team together with churches, with businesses, to be able to provide these all around the world. We feel like that this is going to be the thing that will change because, first of all, it's off the grid. It'll work in any type of environment, from 5% humidity levels all the way up to 100% in some place. The amount of production that it'll do is perfect for a school or an orphanage or a church to be able to supply water for their constituents, for their students. And so we're very excited about it being an off-grid situation that we can put in there. We feel like there's wisdom in starting here in the United States with some of our folks here. I'm Cherokee by nationality. I know I've got the hair as well, so it's very small, but great-grandfather was it. And so for us, the question always comes up, Ken, why do you guys do what you do? And the real reason is what's behind me. It's about the countless number of lives that we're able to touch, the children that we're able to reach, the lives that we're able to deal with. We deal with water quality by treating water, but also with water scarcity from drilling wells to, as you see here, some game-changing innovations that will absolutely, I believe, change the face of water in the world. Because it is a closed-loop system, we feel like that allows us to be able to come back again and again and again to the same hole. What we're facing right now as we drill water wells is at a certain point, there's hundreds of straws coming out of the same, out of the same hole, and those water aquifers are drying up. Right now I've got 2 wells that we're dealing with, that one's at a medical clinic in Kisumu, Kenya, that is dropped down below where it's been drilled. And so it's because the water aquifers are drying up. And that's not just an Africa problem. You talk to anybody that's drilling here in Oklahoma, used to you'd be able to drill for 100 feet and you'd have water. Well, now it's 200, 300, 400 feet to get to the same amount of water. So we're excited because it's an off-grid technology, but also it's providing safe water for the people, whether it's through filtration that we use or whether it's through discovering new and innovative ways to create water. We're very excited about it. So how can you help? First thing of all is pray. There is great power when God's people pray together. And so we ask that you pray not only for technology, but also for safety of our teams as they go out. We've just got groups back in from Chile and Brazil and Venezuela. Just trying to think of all the places we're just coming back from. And looking forward to the future of what this can bring to save the lives of others. Share us on social media, participate in some way. My encouragement, some of you are from churches, is if your church is involved in missions, get your people involved. It's one thing to talk about missions, it's another thing to roll up your sleeves, get involved and go do something and make a difference. I come from a background as a pastor, started out as youth pastor and then as elder of a church. And when God confronted me in 2005 with the reality of what's going on in the world, I said, God, I don't understand. And there's an old Jewish rabbi that asked 2 questions. He said, not now, then when? If not you, then who? And I said, okay. And so walked away and said, we'll start it and look. Now we'll look back and we're amazed at the billions of liters of water we've been able to provide, the countless number of lives that we've been able to touch and be able to present not only life-giving water, but also the living water as well. How can you help? You do it by being here and just listening, but you can take the next steps. And I want Phil to come up. He's going to talk to us about some ways that you can be involved through Thrive It. And some of you guys are in your churches or in businesses are already involved in the insurance piece of it. But we want to give Phil an opportunity.
Yeah, I'll stay down here as well. I'll make this short and sweet and get us done here by the allotted time. Listen, these things are going to cost $15,000 to make, create, and get on the ground. So when I heard that, right before COVID, we had 16 churches around the state partner to get the Bible to the Guahatike tribe in Papua New Guinea. We worked with the seed company out of Dallas, Texas. We combined with 16 churches. We had a fundraising goal, I believe, of $42,000. Those 16 churches raised $68,000. And we translated the Gospel of Luke. We were going to do the first 8 chapters of the book of Acts, and we got to complete the entire book of Acts for the Guahatike tribe. So they now have the Gospel of Luke and the book of Acts. Somewhere in Papua New Guinea. I haven't visited the Guahatikes yet. But that happened right before COVID. As Tyson kind of alluded to, COVID kind of changed a lot of stuff, and I hadn't got to do what I would call these like linking arms, kingdom-minded, big vision projects in a while. And so when I heard about this, I thought, man, we used to do this stuff all the time. I had a 16-year-old in Bentonville, Arkansas, that took $250 and raised over $26,000 for 6 church plants in Africa. Got some lady from one of the cooking shows on TV to come make pies in her church on the National Pie Day, which is March 14th, 3.14. She thought of it. I didn't even think. I was like, wow, you're more nerdy than what I thought, but good job. And she raised over $26,000 for 6 church plants with $250. And so I've seen great things happen. And when I heard about this, I wanted to try, again, to revive this. Like, we got churches in here from Ada, from Cushing, from Norman, from Moore, from Ardmore, from Jinx, from all over in this room right now. We've got organizations and businesses that do a multitude of different things that are very successful. So here's my call. Here's when I called my bosses at Thrive and I said, hey, I want to do something big again. And they're kind of like, yeah, it's been a while. We'll give you permission. I said, cool, here's what we got. And they said, cool, if you raise enough money for 2 of these, $30,000, we'll give you we'll buy a third. We'll match $15,000. We'll do 50%. And so what we want to do between really today is the kickoff, and we've got this open till about the second week of August, is we want to encourage you, whether it be your place of business, whether it be your local church, whether it be your family, whether it be you're going to do National Pie Day, which has already passed, so find a different dessert. Whatever you want to do to figure out how can I make a difference? How can I be a drop in the proverbial bucket? What can I do? And so I've got some ideas and things like I want to just throw out to you. For churches, some of the things that we did in the past with different projects, some churches, listen, it is your church and you know your church better than anybody else. And so some churches did a month-long emphasis with Bible translation. Some did like a single day. Some did a whole summer project. They built the project around what they felt was going to be successful for their local fellowship, their local congregations, and they did a great job. But some of the things like that we've done with water before is some churches have done like a water Sunday, like a water day, and they'll hand out empty water bottles, like empty plastic water bottles. So they'll just drink them as a staff all month and kind of collect them. And so everyone gets an empty water bottle, and obviously the message of the day is, what's going on in the world, how water is life can help kind of, do something different. There's a lot of different ways. Obviously, baptism is a way you can incorporate water, this theme, and everything else with what's going on. And so there's a lot of different ideas, but whether you think, cool, we're going to have a single day, we're going to have a month emphasis, we're going to have a seasonal, a quarterly emphasis, you know your church. What I am offered for you who know me and have that, like, I preach and teach and speak all over the place. And if I can come help in any way, shape, or form, let me know. I know Ken and Tyson, like, they're willing to help. They're available a little bit probably more sporadic. But if there's a Sunday, and you're like, Phil, would you come talk about the project? Would you bring the word? Would you do something? I'm more than happy to do that if that is something that even interests you at all. Some of the other things I want to encourage you is if you've got the people in your church that have financial means, I would go to those people before and see if they would put up a match, much of what like Thriving is doing for this project. There's a person at my church, and when we did the Bible translation, we went to this individual, and he put out a $5,000 match. And so if our church would raise $5,000, he would match $5,000, we would be able to give $10,000 towards this project as a local body, as a fellowship. And so even if it's $1,000, $500, I don't know your church, your people, and who's there. but finding those people before you bring this to the entire congregation, before you bring it to everybody, to say, hey, there are people in this church, they want to propel you, they want to be a catalyst, they want to catapult you into a generous mindset, into a giving season. Here's the project, here's what we're doing, let's hit this goal, we're going to match it. That would be fantastic. Now, I want to show you a little bit of what this looks like. And so if you can put up the QR code, Ken?
Yeah.
You got it? Yeah, you guys have some QR codes on the table. We can pass these around. You can pop that up. And so we work with an organization called Contribute. It's a giving platform is all it is. But they kind of work with us with our unique tax exempt status like I told you about before. And so what Thrive It does, we build these platforms with Contribute, and they're just giving platforms. We take care of all and any credit card charges that are on there, so you don't got to pay for any of that. It kind of lets you know where the entire project is at. And so you as a church, you as an organization, if your day is July 11th, and you want to show people what other people have done all across this state before you and where you're at, you can get an update. It also has shareable tabs for Facebook, for Twitter, for email, for SMS messaging, for all of that. We average per share a $30 gift. And so when we do things on Giving Tuesday, when we do things with the Down Syndrome Association, right now we're doing a huge deal for Little Rock, Arkansas, and the tornado that hit there. When we have these platforms and people share these platforms, the average gift from the share is $30. So we encourage you, as Ken said earlier, like, you can take this and you can put it on, whatever social media platform you're on. You can tell people what's going on, what's happening, and they can come and read about it. There's a synopsis of the project on the page. And so we need your help. Like, as the Bible Translation Project, that would not have happened with one singular church. It just we needed to link arms. We needed all 16 churches in 13 different communities, 4 different denominations. We needed to lock in and go, let's go attack this together. Let's go do this together. And so that's what we're kind of envisioning for this. We've got a big event April 29th at Oral Roberts University at a baseball game, and 125 people are showing up. And we're talking about this. We're going to be doing something here with the OKC Dodgers. We're going to be talking about this. And so, we are trying, this is great, but we want to fulfill this project. I want my company to fulfill their match. Tyson's already asked, hey, will there be a second match? I'm like, Tyson, Big Vision Tyson, all right? And I'm like, I know who to call, but I can't promise you anything. But we got one. We got one extra one coming. We'll do that. And so listen, what I would like to just offer up, if you have any questions, thoughts, if you've done strengths finders, my top 3 strengths are creativity, strategic, and ideation, meaning I'm a creative out-of-the-box thinker. So people see a problem and go, well, we don't know how to do that. I start thinking about all these different ways on how to make this thing happen. And so if I know your church, great. Obviously, I can kind of think through that lens. If I don't know your church, I work with about 280 churches here in Oklahoma, about another, I would say 50 to 75 on a yearly basis in Texas. So I'm a pastor, ordained minister, I know church. I'd love to talk with you about your church and who you are and what you look like and what your church's heartbeat is to see if there's any partnership possibilities and ways to do this. So listen, lastly, I will say this. I love Thriving. We do a lot of good. If you need any help financially, the guy who's getting you signed up, Kyle in the back, he's a financial advisor. He does know all the money stuff. You can go meet with him. This is not a bait and switch. This is not oh cool, we'll do this and then come meet with Thriving. But if you need us, we're here. But this is not a bait and switch to just get you to move finances over. For you guys who are our Thriving members, I hope you can vouch for that and be an advocate for that. If you need us, we're here. But one of the things I love about Thriving is we are the most generous organization, and you can test that that exists. We give out more and do more and get more humanity and more Christians out of there. People ask me my job, I said I get Christians off their butts.
Yeah.
That's what I do. So when they're like, meet the hands and feet, and they're like, maybe. I'm like, no, come with me. And so we try to ignite a passion and possibilities and projects. And not everybody has the same passion, so maybe this isn't you. Maybe you want to help kids with cancer. That's great. Come find me. I got stuff going on. Maybe you want to help the people in Little Rock. Great. Come find me. We got stuff going on. Maybe you got a whole nother project, and you're like, this is great. I want to talk to Phil because I love something, and I got something I'm doing. It'd be great. Come find me. Like, that's who we are, that's what we do, and that's what we're all about. And so, listen, we really, really appreciate you taking your time. We know how valuable that is. And so I would really encourage you. I think we're at like $600. Like, before we even got going today, we're at $600. I would love for us to go past 1,000. I think we got about 40 people, and it's $400. Going math nerd again on you. That's $10 a person. And so if everyone gave at that average, we'd be over $1,000 in this. Like, we just hosted a lunch. We haven't even been at a church yet. We haven't even done anything at a ballpark yet. We haven't even done anything. So if you'd like to give today, please do that. And we've got these Live Generously shirts from Thrive. You can take one of those. I think Water is Life has some hats, but those are just for pastors, right? Because they're more important than everybody else, is what you guys said? Nope, they didn't say that, but I wanted to get them in trouble. So, unless you're a pastor, then you're like, they're your new best friends.
I got a question.
Yeah.
These are 10-year life units.
Yes, sir.
Running consistently.
Yeah.
And it's beyond prototype.
Yep.
This is real
Ready for
life.
mass
This is
production.
real world
Yep.
acquisition. So,
Ready to go.
Now, in
10
front-
years.
Yeah.
I wanna
10
say-
years.
Yeah, I want to say one thing. We're taking these to the Indian Nations first. We've got the Navajo, the Yonga Shoshone, and the Sisseton Wapite are the three first ones we're taking them to. We're working with the tribes here in Oklahoma, trying to isolate the best one to give it the best recognition. Some tribes a little bigger than others and don't need an extra project, but others a little bit smaller. So we're looking to showcase it through a tribe here. But our goal is to put these in Indian Nations, 50 of them in Indian Nations across the United States. And then from there, they're going to further credit to outside countries, international countries like what he just listed off: Venezuela, Chile, Argentina. We're in Africa,
Uganda,
and Ghana are our main places there. But he's in 47 countries. He's got about 10 or 12 that are really hot that they're working in right now. So all these units will end up in developing countries around the world where we want to take these things and additionally give them or allow the governments to buy them for the people that can afford them. So that's where they're going to all further credit to. So when you envision your name, your churches, and whatever we're going to put on these things for badges, it won't just be in Indian Nations in America. They'll be in countries all over the world for 10 years. These things will be moved around and demoed and tested so that this company can get 10 years of data on these machines at 10 different locations. So that's the end goal with the project. They're not just staying with Indian Nations. I want you to think that they're going to have a chance to buy them. Plug, you don't know, they got what's called ARPA, A-R-P, Act money. Really excited about it. They've got hundreds of billions and billions of dollars to build their infrastructure now, and that's what they're all excited about. Is they haven't had this extra money, so COVID provided them resources to go and buy this type of machinery. So they're waiting in line to see it work. So they're going to get the demos and you can see it work in America, and then further credit to international countries. So I want all you to know that.
Good. Yeah.
You were saying 15,000 and Tyson said 25.
Yeah, the demos, they're going to be 15,000 just a partial payment to get them done. They cost more than that, but I said, let me go raise money to help pay for them. And they said, all right, if you get 15,000, we'll foot the bill for the rest getting delivered. So
I still
15,000
want
is going to be
Good question. Thank you.
But when they come to get sold, and it's 2023, everything changes so fast with pricing, the supply chain. You can get this, now you can't get that. There's still problems in the supply chain with the auto industry where I come from. A lot of empty lots still. There's lots of things aren't working. So prices are scheduled to change, but they should stay under $25.
We want to respect your time. If you've got questions, comments, or
Yeah.
snide remarks you want to
Yeah.
make, we'll be here.
You need to leave, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you have any questions, we want to open it up for questions. You guys already did that. Congrats. But any other questions, let us know. And we do want to respect your time. So if you gotta go, listen. Those water bottles are for you. They got a lot of cool stuff in it too. So we want you to grab those on your way out, and any of the other swag. And I want those water bottles to be a reminder that you can go fill those up almost anywhere, anytime, where you want it. And the project that we're doing, the people that we're serving, do not have that capability. So when you take this bright blue or black private water bottle, I want you to take a moment and remember where you got it, why you're getting it, and what we're doing this summer. And if there's any way, like I said, we can help you, like we are here to help. So why don't we do this? I know some of you guys have drives. I told you about the churches that were here before. If you have questions, we'll stay up here at the front. Listen, there's still some food out there, and I bought these brownie butt cake things thinking that we would be friends. And only like 6 of you have them. So, on yours, thank you. You took 3 of them. And so, if you would like one of those, or 2 of those, or 3 E's, whatever, then feel free to grab some, because I don't need that many. I'm gonna get one. And so go out there, grab you some to-go stuff for your kiddos, your family. Thank you guys so much for being here. Appreciate you guys. There you go. There you go. Basketball. Yeah, game. I can't I see the rest. So when I see it, you're very I think that I was like, oh man.
Baseball game, and what I'm gonna have,
I'll get this back here.